Oh, hello there. My name is Jesse Rope. I'm so glad that you could join me this morning. I'm about to take you on a journey through my Wwise implementation project. Come along. Oh, good. I'm so glad that you made it. Welcome to my Wwise project. It looks a little bare right now, but that's because everything's folded up. I'm going to be going through this like you know something at all about Wwise. If you don't, you should go outside and ride a bike, because there are better things to do on a Sunday morning than take tours through other people's Wwise projects. So to give you a little background, this is kind of a proof of concept for an all-audio game that takes place in the world of old-time radio theater. I imagined it kind of a nice cross between Papa Sangre, Myst, and the golden age of radio. So the central concept is basically you have this character that can travel between the different worlds or genres of radio drama through the use of this kind of magic radio. So I've built 4 worlds for this project, kind of like a laboratory corresponding to kind of the science fiction, kind of Frankensteinian type of story, the classic noir. You've got your dark and stormy night, your spaceship for your sci-fi kind of story, and of course, what is an old-time play without the Wild West? Alright, so setting a game in the world of radio drama allows for a lot of kind of fun uses of static, and I've used static in a number of different ways in this project. First off was in just the transition between the different worlds that I just introduced. So the idea was to be able to use this radio to tune between the worlds as if you were tuning between stations. So this is what the transition would sound like altogether. And in that there are 4 different layers. You've kind of got some bass, kind of standard gentle static, and also some softer but a little bit more intermittent static there. And then increasing to stuff that's more recognizable. And altogether, you can see there are quite a few different sounds for each kind of layer, leading to, I think I calculated it to be something like 1,400 different possible combinations. Yay, randomization! So that's the one thing, and we'll hear that in action later on. The next was to use static as kind of the signal strength to make boundaries for the playable area. So like in the Wild West, for example, you're not going to have walls all around you, but how do you, set a boundary where kind of the playable action stops and you want your player to stay inside. So I thought that using kind of a signal strength, the further you get away from the action, the more static would kind of be introduced to the sound. Until they're so overwhelming that the player would want to obviously turn around. Again, same kind of like gentler layers going down to some harsher layers at the bottom. And again, with a number of different variations for each type of static, so that each time it would sound a little different. And I used the same layers to also create a health static. So the more damage you get, the more static is introduced, and that's kind of your damage meter. But I left the kind of blanket static introduced later on so that the player could still kind of hear what was going on in the world, so that he'll be able to actually hear his enemies and the attacks and stuff like that around him, which I will show you later on. Super, so those are those, and then of course when you die there's a nice burst. Ooh, that was kind of harsh. Yeah, as I suppose it should be. Right, so there you go. The use of static. So the character sounds. Obviously, footsteps in an adventure game. So you have your walk and your run variety on a number of different surfaces with plenty of variation. Got a little overkill with variation, as you can see. There's no reason at all that I should have 58 dirt walk steps. It's pretty absurd, but that's what batch processing does for you. I can play 34 without repeating. You'll never hear the same step, or at least you never recognize the same step. Right. And run. Concrete. Blah, blah, blah. Pretty straightforward stuff there. The gun is kind of fun, though. It's a revolver with a holster, so kind of ready. You've got this unholst sound, along with a cock, and then a holster sound, where you uncock and put it away. So the fire sounds all together like this. So that was an outdoor fire. For inside and outside, the inside a little boomier and has like a close reverb attached to it. And then the outside has that without the close reverb, but then with the addition of a reverb tail. So altogether, the outside would be this. That tail floating up at the end. And the inside is something like that. And altogether, there's also plenty of ricochets, classic, and then a cock at the end. Ready to fire. Super! So for the loading, altogether sounds like this. So you have, first of all, your chamber open and dropping of the casings and different surfaces for each world. You have individual bullet loads, which are played in rapid succession, a spin close, and then a cock ready to fire. So altogether, sounds like this, and the playlist you can see over here. So, in this world, I've made two characters. I'll probably just show you one, since this is getting long enough already. You've got a scrapper in a bar that just wants to fight you. So you have to learn how to defend and attack in a game that you can't see anything. And then there's also a gunslinger that teaches you how to shoot in a world where you can't see anything. Kind of similar concepts. Basically, you're using the sound of your target and kind of keying in on it using, binaural. Awesome. So here we go. Get to play around in the session. Let's start out in the West. So nice breeze, insects, some spot ambiances. Classic eagle. Birds. Some other insects. And these spots kind of randomize their position around you and also have an attenuation fall off, so their volume and also like a low pass fall off as they get further away from you. Super. So right now, dirt footsteps. I wanted to make this as automated as possible so that when you do change to other environments, like going in the saloon for instance, your footsteps are now wood, your gunfire is indoor gunfire, even though it has the reverb. You still need a reverb. Or excuse me, the ricochet. The wood casings. And then when you leave that environment, your footsteps go back to dirt, and casings, etc., everything's back to dirt. Cool, that's pretty straightforward. Let's go to space. Alright, so what's going on in each of these transition events is a number of things. 13 things, to be exact. First off, I'm playing the static environment transition, which you heard. I am just clearing out the effects bypasses, like bypassing them all, and then disabling the bypass for the reverb that happens in the ship, which sounds like this. And so that is automatically enabled there. Setting the surface to metal, setting the state transition. Next time the transition goes, you'll notice that there is a kind of a pitch down and also a low pass effect that kind of just like muddles everything as you transition. Stops all the sounds, and then in kind of that depression, the next world ambience comes up underneath it. Resets the map and the health static, transitions out, returns the pitch and the low pass to its normal amount, and then changes indoor gun type. Alright. Oh, yeah, speaking of the nice metal bulkhead. Right now we should be in the rear of the ship, so let's transition. Actually, it sounds like the front, which is weird. Anyway. Now we're in the middle of the ship. There's a little more reverb in here, and the spots for this part of the environment are different than what were in the front, even though I didn't play any. Awesome. So, and then going to the rear of the ship. Alright, let's go to the noir. Let's get some music in this one. Is that ambience or what? The dark and stormy night. Oh, here's a good effect too. Because what would be radio without the necessary futs? In a city that knows how to keep its secrets, I fire my gun. And there's a tail, because I'm outside. And there's concrete for my casings. So I would think that the player might start out with the sluts just to kind of sell the effects, but the longer he plays, because it gets kind of tiring after a while, it kind of melds out to, you know, bring the player into the world, along with some thunder. You know? Why not? Alright, let's go to the laboratory. Awesome. So in this concrete again, there's a little reverb here. Indoor gunshot. Fun stuff. Alright, so now this time I really want you to listen to the transition for the dip in the pitch as we go into a different world. Yeah, you can hear it on that locust as it comes up. Alright, well, let's introduce you to the Scrapper. Yeah!
Step up!
Uh-huh.
Step to me, partner!
Oh, that would be... whatever. This is fine. So, right, how I thought it would work, and there's no way to show this in Wise without any kind of implementation, but that how it would basically work is that the player would follow the footsteps that the enemies make and face them as they move around them, and then has the chance to dodge or block an attack as the Scrapper attacks them.
Oh, sorry about that!
Right. So if he does block the attack...
Oh, you greasy little pig, ain't you?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Stand still, let me kiss you.
And then the player also has the opportunity to attack back. And if he does, the Scrapper can dodge you.
Oh, I'm over here, little guy.
Yeah.
Miss me!
Yeah. Or you can hit him.
Come on, I thought we were just having some fun.
Yeah.
Ow, shoot! Oh.
Right. But the point of this is just to hear the damage, again, the damage static I introduced in the beginning. So, as you get different degrees of hits, more and more damage,
That one ain't ever going away.
you can start to hear kind of more static coming in underneath.
Got you good.
And you'll also hear the ambience, like the crickets and stuff, dropping out lower as the static comes in, so you can really focus on the feet of the enemy.
Whoa, look out!
Yeah, and now by that time it's pretty much hopeless.
It's okay, you look better like that.
And the death. Right. There you go. To hear that progression again. On the death hit, there's a mixed state that's enabled here that basically pitches and low passes things all the way down really quickly and then stops all the sounds. Right, that's what happens. Play the death burst, health death, stop all, yep, and then reset your health at the end. Cool, well, here we go again.
Oh, did that get you? I just got you good. Look, now you're pretty. Look out, huh? Look at you, so pretty now. Got you good.
Alright, and that's where we are. Thanks for sticking with me this far. Just kind of showing you what fun I've had in Wise so far, and I hope to find a programmer and maybe get this thing playable sometime, maybe eventually someday. Thanks a lot.